Okay, well, with all of that, we're going to today look at fallacies. And so, welcome to class again. Please find your notes if you've been taking notes. Of course, the PowerPoint is on Google Classroom in week 2. You can go back and look through the entire Logic PowerPoint at this point. Also, the class will be recorded, so you'll be able to go back and rewatch anything that you need to rewatch. You'll be doing 2 different things today, looking at a variety of fallacies of relevance, as well as the definition of what a fallacy is. And then we'll also be looking at several advertisements to see if we can detect the fallacy that is clearly being displayed within the advertisements. By the way, advertisements are really good with fallacies. So is Donald Trump, now I think about it. And by the way, I'm not saying anything bad about Donald Trump. Some of you may like Donald Trump, some of you may hate Donald Trump. You know, whatever. That's not the point. The point is Donald Trump likes fallacies, especially one of them. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Now, Joe Biden probably would like fallacies too if he could remember one. So there you go. All right, hopefully I've offended everybody equally at this point. Is that true?
Good job.
Thanks. Thanks. I love the.
You've been politically correct. A+.
Thank you. That's what I strive for. Oh, whoops. Ignore that. So we're going to be going back here and looking at fallacies. Fallacies. There we go. Intro to fallacies. Okay, so we've talked about arguments, right? So we use arguments all the time in order to try to convince people. Very often, though, we are missing premises. We are not very clear. And sometimes the arguments that we relay simply don't provide support or grounds for the conclusion. And one of the most common problems in argumentation that has almost become something of an art, again, just ask Donald Trump, is the use of fallacious reasoning in order to convince people of a position without actually relaying an argument. Okay, so the truth of the conclusion depends on two things. First is whether the truth of the premises, and so if they're not true, then you won't necessarily come to a true conclusion. The second is whether the conclusion actually follows from the premises. And this is where we practiced with some valid and invalid argumentation earlier. This is where we're now going to talk about fallacies, because fallacies will oftentimes confuse the listener, distract the listener from the actual argument, and have them arrive at the conclusion that the speaker wants them to arrive at without actually providing the logical construct with proper premises. So let's look at an example here. Back in the old days, I thought this was funny when I found it. Back in the old days, in the 1950s, people were very worried that cigarettes might cause cancer. In fact, when my dad was a kid, they used to jokingly call them cancer sticks. Now, this was before big studies which showed that cigarette smoking actually causes cancer, but there was still this sort of uneasiness about, cigarettes. Hey, don't worry though. If you're worried about cancer, smoke what doctors smoke, camels. So this is fallacious, right? This is not making an argument that cigarettes don't cause cancer. In fact, you might say that this has something to do with an inappropriate appeal to authority, but we'll get to that. Okay, so what is a fallacy? A fallacy is an error in reasoning. In particular, a fallacy represents a typical error of logic that commonly occurs, and the term is usually reserved for arguments that, although incorrect in their formulation, have some sort of emotional or psychological appeal that oftentimes appear to be correct without having some sort of a critical review. Now, if you've looked into the number of fallacies that actually do exist, logicians have been able to isolate somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100 different types of fallacies. We're not going to look at all 1,100 different types of fallacies. we're going to look at the most common ones. And we're going to break them up into generally 3 large categories. The one that we're going to be looking at today, and in case you're wondering and you're worried, there's actually a lot of these that we're going to be looking at. They're called the fallacies of relevance. There's quite a few of them that we're going to be looking at, because with the fallacies of relevance, the conclusion is not necessarily relevant to the argument that is put forward, right? And then the next group that we're going to be looking at is called the fallacies of presumption. And you can probably tell what those are generally about as well. You're presuming something to be the case without actually explicitly stating it within the argument and asserting it directly in the argument. And then finally, you may not use the word ambiguity very often, but you probably have heard the term ambiguous, probably the term ambiguity. And so you're somewhat familiar with what that means. But look, lots of times words can have different meanings. And depending on their context, we ascribe, hopefully, the proper intended meaning of the word used. However, sometimes the context is such that you don't know for sure what the speaker actually means. And so there's ambiguity within the language that is used. And so the fallacies of ambiguity. And believe it or not, I have my favorite fallacies. I don't know about you, but I got favorites. My favorite fallacies, not relevance. They're not even that funny most of the time. They're just obnoxious. Fallacies of presumption, those are kind of funny. But you know the ones that are really funny? Ambiguity. Those things are hilarious. And I'm hoping you guys will think that they're funny too when we get there. Okay. So we'll be looking at a variety of the fallacies of relevance today, probably the most common ones. And I'll give you what it's called. And you can either write that down or whatever. I would recommend that you actually write them down so you have a kind of a list of them to draw from. And I'll give you an example or an explanation of the fallacy. And then in the case of most of them, I'll give you the logical form as well. So this first one is called the argument from ignorance. And what it means is that oftentimes people will conclude things because we don't know something, right? We don't know such and such, so it must be true. Or we don't know such and such, so it must be false. It happens fairly regularly. No one has conclusively proven that God does exist, therefore he doesn't. I've heard atheists who are supposedly smart people make this argument. And then, of course, they have an excuse for it. So they say, well, it's the burden of proof. And then they bring out the flying spaghetti monster. Now, that might not make any sense to you. Don't worry about it. At some point, it probably will. Logical form is something along the lines of either X is true because you cannot prove that it's false, or X is false because you cannot prove that it's true. How many of you ever heard someone use the argument from ignorance? Okay. It's a fairly common one that is used. It's one that I hear daily from my 7-year-old. If you guys want to hear fallacies, listen to my 4-year-old and my 7-year-old talk about anything. Fallacies galore. Pretty remarkable. In fact, they've probably even come up with new ones that no one's ever discovered before. My kids are creative with their fallacies. Appeal inappropriately to authority. Appealing to the opinion of non-experts, or appealing to the opinion of experts, but in a way that makes their opinion or their views to be absolutely definitive. My dad is an engineer, and he says evolution has been proven false, so it's false. I've heard students use this one with a certain football coach. What? You guys didn't hear that, did you? I was talking into my coffee cup for a specific reason. I don't want to find myself in Mr. Eby sort of trouble. You know what I mean? Mr. Eby, he tells me, he's like, they're coming for you, Joe. They're going to get you. I'm like, no.
Eby lying.
So the logical form is something along the lines of, according to person one, Y is true. Therefore, Y is true. Good times. Let's look at the next one. We're going to look at, there's really two different types of ad hominem fallacies. We'll be looking at, well, actually, there's even more. There's more than just two. But we're looking at the two most common ones. But lots of times these things are sort of lumped together as one. They just call it ad hominem. The first one's called ad hominem abusive, and it's attacking the character of a person who is relaying an argument and then not actually engaging with the argument that's being put forward by that person. That is a fallacy. Hillary Clinton is an evil, baby-killing socialist. You certainly can't trust her views on Social Security. Right, so you're attacking her person. You're making her sound bad by calling her an evil, baby-killing socialist. This next one I found to be funny, and once again, fallacies can be funny. And so if you know someone named Tony, this one's for you. Tony wants us to believe that the origin of life is completely by accident. But then again, Tony is an atheist who has spent more time in prison than in church. So the only information we should consider from him is the best way to make license plates. Right? So we are attacking yes, we are attacking, sorry guys, I'm stopping the share here really quickly. Okay. So we are attacking Tony's character and not actually engaging in Tony's argument. You see how that's the case? That's ad hominem abusive. The next one is pretty similar to this. Oh, sorry, logical form is this. Person one is claiming Y. Person one is a moron or maybe even evil, therefore Y is not true. Is there anyone in politics that you know that sometimes uses this? Anyone? Anyone at all? What politician do you know of that will oftentimes attack someone's character and not really deal with the argument?
Donald Trump.
Ooh.
Both from and towards him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Donald Trump, there you go. He does. Now, I'm not saying don't go vote for him. You know, that's not what I'm saying, but I am saying that he does use this one sometimes. And then we go ad hominem circumstantial. And this is attacking, rather than the person, individual character, you're attacking their position or their race or their religion or a group that they belong to, right? You're a Christian, so I know you must be against welfare, because we all know that Jesus officially became a Republican in 1980 with Ronald Reagan. I'm hoping you guys recognize that that was a joke. I saw one person kind of crack the smile. Of course your minister says he believes in God. He would be unemployed otherwise. It's kind of funny. But this is a fallacy, right? The logical form is person one is claiming Y. Person one has a vested interest in Y being true. Therefore, Y must be false. So rather than dealing with the argument the minister puts forward for the existence of God, you basically say, well, he has a vested interest in it being true, so I'm going to ignore the argument. That is a fallacy. It's a fallacy of relevance. The conclusion that the listener or the speaker is attempting to draw is not relevant to the argument being put forward. Okay, we're ready for the next one? Are we ready? Steady.
You ready, kids?
Whoa, Sophie, slow down there. Sophie is not ready, and she's very, very insistent upon that. You probably couldn't see it. If you go back and rewatch this video, you'll be able to see her though, because it turns out for whatever reason, when you record Zoom, it records everything that's on my screen. So you guys can only see me talking and the slideshow, but I can see all of you. And so I have most of the slide is covered up. In case you're wondering sometimes, why does Mr. Cook pause randomly in the middle of a sentence? Because I'm moving your pictures around so I can see what's written down. Yeah, so Sophie was flailing about, insisting that I stop. Can I go now, Sophie? She's nodding yes. Okay. This one is called appeal to emotion. It's an attempt to arouse passion or emotion or appeal to a majority. So if you've ever watched Oprah, you've seen this happen. You've seen this go down. Not that I've ever really watched Oprah. Okay, a little bit. Not in a way like I secretly like watching Oprah. No. Occasionally she has a heretic on there named Joel Osteen, and those are pretty funny. Okay. There must be objective rights and wrongs in the universe. If not, you'd have to admit that torturing babies for fun could be right. Now, you could make an argument with this reason here, but this doesn't do it. The way that this is put forward is simply making you feel emotional and making you agree with the conclusion. There must be an objective right and wrong. That's the conclusion the speaker wants you to draw. Because, oh, I don't want to think that torturing babies would be fun. Bah. And then if you're doing this in front of an audience, this is also a fairly clear tipping of the hand, if you will. When they turn to the audience and they appeal to the audience's emotions. Hey, everyone knows this, right? Yeah, and everyone claps, That's a fallacy. It's appeal to emotion. You have to make the argument in order to make an argument. Okay, are we ready? No, we're not. Emily's flailing about. Celia looks thoroughly confused or tired. Christina was flailing about. Sophie was so lost she fell off the screen. Oh, there she is.
Oh, I'm not.
Like she is having the time of her life. Lindsay, you look so happy to be here.
I totally am.
Good. I would say that Haley looks like she's having fun, but she's sitting in a dark room. So I can't see.
Mr. Cook,
Yeah.
I had a weird dream last night.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's it.
I was elk hunting. It was wonderful.
So
No, it was just a weird dream.
Good to know.
Ate
Okay.
No, she needs to
Qdoba.
share it. She has to share
what
it
was
now.
it about, Soph?
Yeah.
I ate Qdoba in a supply closet in a mental hospital.
With who, so?
Crystal.
And?
Yeah, it was really weird.
And who? Okay, and with that, let's look at the next one. The appeal to pity. Oh, by the way, this is a good one for you guys. And in fact, you all know this one well. Because when you have failed to accomplish something, schoolwork-wise, simply appealing to your teacher's sense of pity seems to always work. At least it does with me. You say something like, oh, I couldn't get my homework done because, I worked really hard the night before. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Just get it in when you can. How many times have you heard me say that?
We use this in study hall a lot on you. You eat it up. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
We're like,
exactly.
there's too much work, and you're like, oh, I'll go talk to Mr. R about it. And we all just kind of look at each other like, okay.
Yep.
I don't take advantage of your kindness. Putting that out there.
I mean, other than Christina, I didn't turn in my DBQ 2 weeks late.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the logical form is X is true because person one worked really hard to make it true.
Anne says hi, just so you know.
Hi, Anne. Okay, next one. Appeal to force. You will accept what I am saying because I'll hurt you otherwise. And you might say, well, does this happen very often? Well, actually, it does, believe it or not. We teachers use it all the time. So you guys use the appeal to pity on me all the time, and then you laugh about it as you were just doing. I use this one on you all the time, though. Eventually, you better learn, or I will give you a failing grade, and then I'll see you again next year. Right? Whether I say that or not, that's implied. And so for some of you, that is the motive. I know this is a class of mostly females, and I know that this is probably more of a boy movie, but have any of you seen the film The Godfather, Godfather Part 1?
It's on the list, but no.
I am not allowed.
You're not allowed? Oh. Okay,
Can you
well,
appeal to Mr. Evie
Yes,
and convince him?
has your dad ever seen God? There's very little in it that's bad.
I think it's mostly my mom saying I can't watch it. My dad wants me to, I think.
Yeah, I could see that actually. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Your mom, when she comes over and watches scary movies at her house, she's just like, why am I doing this with a bunch of like males? Yeah, anyway. Oh yeah, by the way, we still, we're working on getting our scary movie club up and going again with the teachers. So it's gonna be good. Okay, so if you've ever seen the movie The Godfather, Marlon Brando plays this character, Vito Corleone. And kind of talks like this, you know, got Michael, oh, no, I don't understand what I'm saying. And he famously, basically, you know, he accomplishes what he's a mobster, right? Accomplishes what he accomplishes, not by making logical arguments, but by threatening people. You know, like, you're going to sign your business over to me. Either your signature or your brains will be on the deed. That is an appeal to force. He didn't make a logical argument. He threatened. Here is one called the irrelevant conclusion. It's kind of a catch-all. There's lots of details here that we could go into. We're not going to, but we could. Irrelevant conclusion. And basically it has to do with the diversion of attention with the intent of abandoning the original argument. And so the logical form would look something like X and Y are related, and to prove that there is a correlation, or rather a causation, might be really difficult. Therefore Z, because everyone kind of accepts Z. And this would be one person speaking. The next fallacy that we're going to be looking at is one where basically it's like an irrelevant conclusion, but rather than one person relaying an argument and kind of going off the rails and landing somewhere else, this is two people arguing. And I will also say that it is a great tool for all parents of young children. This next one is a great tool for parents of young children. So Emily's flailing about. We got to keep going though, Emily, because we're running out of time. If you want, you can really quickly take a picture of your screen. That way you have it. No, okay. The next one is called the red herring. This is also known as the parent's friend. Argument A is presented by person one, like my daughter Ava. Hey, Daddy, can we stop and get some ice cream? We really should. Person two, that's me, introduces argument B. Hey, Ava, when we get home, how about let's hop on the four-wheeler and go for a ride through the woods? She's so excited about that she forgets first argument. Bam, take that, little kid. I just fooled you. That's known as a red herring.
It's so weird to hear you talk about how you're manipulating your children.
Is that weird? How many do you think that is?
It's just odd because I am a child and I have a parent, and so I'm just wondering how much my mom
know they do the same thing, right? How many of you know that your parents will sometimes do stuff like that, especially when you were younger? Yeah.
do.
Oh, they still do.
Okay.
Exactly.
My dad wouldn't feed us for until the meal, and then he'd put out the vegetables first and let them sit on the table while we were starving, and then feed us the main So we'd eat that, and then we wouldn't want dessert because we'd be so full.
Yeah, there you go. That's very, very smart.
convenient.
Yeah. Don't you wish your parents were that honest to just come out and say, yep, the red herring is my friend? And it fools you all the time. So where do we get the term red herring? You might not even know this. You know, supposing you're an Englishman, you're a nobleman, you have lots of money, you have a horse, and you like to have your dogs chase foxes around and like then shoot them. Not the dogs, the fox, right? Ride. And then all of a sudden, if you want to get the dogs off the scent, all you have to do is take a nasty smelling red herring fish, drag it across the trail, and the dogs, they lose focus. They were going after the fox. Now they're after the fish. So there you go. That's why it's called red herring. Okay, last one. The straw man. Oh my gosh. If you watch the, and well, you should have watched the interview with Kathy Newman and Jordan Peterson, but I guarantee you have seen this one in that interview at least 20 times. The impression of refuting an argument because the argument that you are pretending to knock over is an argument that is not actually honest to the original person's position. Logical form, person one asserts proposition X. Person two argues against a superficially proposition, so we'll call that Y. It's not actually X. They're not addressing X or addressing Y. It's kind of close. Falsely, as if an argument against Y were an argument against X. They defeat argument Y, but it's a different argument. How many of you can give me an example of the Jordan Peterson, Kathy Newman interview where very clearly Kathy Newman uses this?
There was one point where she was saying like, so you're saying that like all women basically should just give up because it's not going to happen?
Yeah, that's exactly what she says. Actually, that's a quote. So you're saying that women should all just give up. I can go play with my Cindy dolls. And he's like, no, that's not what I was saying at all. Like, that's not my position. But she continued to try to do this. And if he was to basically address, you know, her question as if that was true, then all of a sudden he's taken on an argument that he didn't actually assert. And so that's exactly what happens very commonly in that particular interview. Okay, and so now I'm going to have you guys do something kind of fun. Whoop, sorry. Doggone it. Actually, yeah, so I'm going to have you guys go ahead and join Slido and then go type in 2328. That didn't work for a few people last period, so you might be able to get there by taking the picture of that on the screen. Before we go too far, I got to go back and reset this though. Reset results, reset. Okay. And then can you guys give me a thumbs up when you have logged into that? Okay. I see that thumb. I see that thumb. Amen. Hallelujah. I see a wave. That's not quite a thumb. Whoops, sorry. There you go. That's probably what you need. Everybody good? Not everybody's good. Christina has lost her phone. Where is it? Where is that phone? Oh, she has the phone. Can't get it to work? Take a picture of the thing in the corner of your screen. Try that.
I got it, but Anna can't get in because she's using a laptop and it's not liking the code.
Not liking the code.
We just work together. Yeah. Me and Anna will make decisions together if that's okay.
That's good. It's probably better if you can discuss it yourselves. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a series of little short videos. then you're going to say, oh, which of the fallacies that are listed was displayed in the video. So let's start with this one.
Here's something DirecTV won't tell you. They hate puppies. Fact. They charge you every month for
You guys hear that good?
HD service. Fact. Time Warner Cable HD is free. Saves you what could be hundreds of dollars. Fact. You could spend those hundreds of dollars on like a mountain of dog food. Fact. Puppies love dog food. Therefore, DirecTV hates puppies. Who hates puppies?
Free HD, DirecTV doesn't have it.
Okay, go ahead and vote. Which fallacy do you think was illustrated? DirecTV hates puppies. You know they do. What kind of people would hate puppies? Hitler even liked puppies. I mean, come on. And then when you guys think you know what that is, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and I'll look and see what you guys put. Okay, I got one thumb, 2. Still just 2. 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's only because Anna's got up 2 thumbs. Okay, we're gonna call that good. All right, let's see what you guys put. Ad hominem, 100%. Hey, you guys are 100% right. Which ad hominem was it? Was it abusive or was it circumstantial? Someone unmute and tell me.
Abusive.
Yeah, exactly. Abusive. Hates puppies? That's just mean. Okay. Let's watch another one.
TV is evil.
That's exactly right. DirecTV is evil because they hate puppies. Okay, here we go.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC.
Gesundheit, you okay?
No, I'm not okay. I have that virus that's going around.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, you better stay back. This one's a doozy.
That's okay, I'll be fine.
No, do not be a hero. Last year there were 114,000 known viruses for PCs.
PCs, not Macs. So you just grab this.
I think I got a crash.
Hey, if you feel like that'll help, good.
All right, go ahead and vote on that one. So obviously the conclusion that they're trying to get you to draw is buy a Mac, not a PC. I would say there's a fairly obvious fallacy being illustrated in this particular ad. And when you guys think you got it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Okay, I see those thumbs. 3 of them, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're almost there. All right, Lindsay, you're just going for it. Okay, let's see what you guys put. Argument from ignorance. So because we don't know something to be true, the opposite must be true? Is that what the video is saying? Feel free to go ahead and change to a different one if you feel that you have marked it incorrectly. Ad hominem. What was the character of PC being trashed? Can't trust PCs because Bill Gates is a real nasty booger.
They were setting up the PC as like a less superior thing in general.
Yes, they were. Would you say that that was a fair assessment of PCs?
No.
So they're making the argument that PCs are really bad and virus prone to the extreme in comparison to the Mac. What's that called? Feel free to change your answer to accurately fit the video. Okay, I guess you guys aren't really seeing it. Now you're really not seeing it. We already decided it was not ad hominem. Remember that? It's not ad hominem. Nobody's race, gender, or character being trashed. What authority are they appealing to? Okay, guys, when you're trying to make, so think about it. When you're making an argument and you wrongly relay the opposing position, you say that the opposing position, you simplify it, you change it, and you attack it so that the other is better, that's called what? Literally, the guy even falls down. He's like the literal, okay, there we go. I think we're starting to get there. There we go, 75% of you now have it right, finally. This is very clearly a straw man argument. The guy even falls over like knocking over a straw man. You guys ever see that you're pushing over a straw man or you're knocked over the straw man? That's exactly right, like he even falls over. The virus takes down the straw man. So that's a straw man argument. Okay, let's look at another one. This is gonna be great, you're gonna love it.
So all these seem the same.
Get a Sony. The technology in their cameras and camcorders makes it easy to get the best shot.
Exactly.
What do you know about cameras and camcorders?
Really? Does that child have a beard?
Get one real quick, me and you.
It's easy to get the best shot with Sony cameras and camcorders.
Okay, what was that? You guys should be able to get this one pretty easy. And then give me a thumbs up when you have it figured. Okay, I see 2 thumbs. 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'd count the Pope too, but he's doing this instead. So I guess we'll just go with it. Guys, look at that. Way to go. Inappropriate appeal to authority. Hey, we got extra guests. Anne, how's it going? Preview of tomorrow's lesson, I guess.
It's going great. And I like this class a lot better because everyone actually talks compared to mine.
Yes, your class is remarkably quiet. You're like the only one who does talk. So I'm glad
I know, and it's
otherwise it would be very, very awkward. So
and I feel like I'm that person. I don't want to be that person that just keeps raising their hand for like literally no one else.
No, go ahead and be that person. We'll go with it.
Okay.
All right, guys, we got one more video for us to look at. Let's, where do we want to be? We're going to start right here. So this is from Alice in Wonderland.
Please.
Very well.
Oh no.
We just had the most amazing family vacation. Let's go! Oh my god.
This is gorgeous. Oh, fallacy.
Third course.
Oh, no. Thank you, but I just wanted to ask you which way I ought to go.
Well, that depends on where you want to get to.
Oh, it really doesn't matter. As long as I...
Then it really doesn't matter which way you go. Oh, by the way, if you'd really like to know, he went that way.
Who did?
The White Rabbit.
He did?
He did what?
Went that way.
Who did?
The White Rabbit.
What rabbit?
But didn't you just say... I mean, oh dear.
Can you stand on your head? Oh. However, if I were looking for a white rabbit, I'd ask the Mad Hatter.
Okay, So what do you guys think? What fallacy was illustrated there? And as you're thinking through that, I'll be relaying here really quickly and then give me a thumbs up, yeah, when you have that voted. As you're thinking through this, your homework for this afternoon is looking at the second worksheet in that little packet of worksheets. The first one was the emotive words worksheet. The next one is the fallacies of relevance. If you guys want to do that on a digital copy, it's also in your Google Classroom, so you can just answer the questions there if you so choose. You don't have to necessarily take a picture of it and send me, though you can if you desire. And you'll be looking at a variety of different examples and trying to recognize the fallacies used based on the fallacies that we've walked through today. Not all of them, by the way, are going to be used in the worksheet. Only some of them will be used in the worksheet. Okay, really quickly, let's see what you guys put. Oh, good. Y'all did it. That's the red herring. Yep. The cat was being a mutt, you know, dancing on his head and being a distraction, and trying to distract poor Alice from figuring out what the heck she was doing. So anyway, and by the way, I think the guy who did that was clearly on drugs. So there's my commentary. Okay, any thoughts as we say goodbye to you today? Any thoughts or questions?
Thought and question. I just said the words. Haha.
Haha. Yes. So anyway, if there's nothing else to be said, and you have questions about how to do this, feel free, of course, to email me, and we can set up a time to go back over it. But first, I would suggest get in touch with a friend who maybe understands this better than you do to work through them. Normally, when I've had my students do this in class, we usually do these in class, mainly so that you can go through these by yourself first and then talk with a friend or a neighbor in class in order to help sort out what fallacies are which and where the fallacies are found. And you know, obviously we don't have that option, so feel free to talk to one another. Well, some of you actually, I guess, automatically have that option because you're in the same room. Clearly not wearing masks. Anyway, by the way, I'm not judging you at all. I don't like wearing masks. I went into a business yesterday. No one had a mask on. Nobody. It was great. I'm like, wow, they must not be afraid of Kate Brown at all in this place. It was a farmland tractor store out in South Albany in Tangent. Went in there and I'm like, no one. So I took my mask off. I was like, oh, it was wonderful. Anyway.
Which restaurant was this, or a business?
Farmland Tractor. It's like a junkyard for tractors.
Oh wow.
So it's
I broke the bucket on my tractor moving dirt the other day. Like I literally busted one of the pieces off of the bucket. I was like, maybe they have a replacement bucket, and they didn't. But I went there and it was fun. Okay. Anyway, we'll see you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will do my best to either ignore you or answer them. Okay. Peace out, y'all.